From the moment we draw our first breath, the world commences its instruction on how to perceive, think, and feel. But have you paused to contemplate the origins of these very ideas you embrace as your own? Envision a newborn, encountering existence for the first time. Unburdened by limitations, devoid of distinctions, the universe unfolds before this child as an unending tapestry of possibilities, an unbroken stream of potential. Yet, as years accumulate, this expanse begins to contract. Language is imparted, regulations are imposed, and the once limitless horizon transforms into an invisible confinement. From our earliest days, we are molded. Terms such as right and wrong, possible and impossible, begin to constrain the vast spectrum of what we might believe. Institutions, schools, religions, cultures assume the responsibility of civilizing us, a process that often extracts a toll on our innate essence. Picture your mind at birth, a pristine mirror reflecting reality in its unadulterated form. Gradually, dust and sediment accumulate, familial expectations, societal conventions, cultural pressures. The mirror no longer faithfully reflects truth, but projects the desires of a world seeking conformity rather than individual brilliance. Education often emphasizes what to think, neglecting how to think. Media outlets dictate desires and instigate fears. Even language, a potent instrument of programming, shapes our beliefs and our perception of reality. For instance, the notion of impossible doesn't represent a universal truth, but rather a systemic limitation. The fear of the unknown, instilled so early, paralyzes us and prevents exploration of our true selves. The primary key to awakening resides in recognizing that you are within a form of dream, a collective dream imposed by forces vested in perpetuating conformity. Ask yourself, are these thoughts, these fears, these desires truly mine, or have I been conditioned to accept them? What if your presumed identity is merely a mask? And what if, veiled beneath, lies a purer, more boundless version of you? Something profound is poised for revelation, demanding courage. The courage to introspect and dismantle the layers of illusion obscuring your authentic radiance. Welcome to the arcane vault. From life's dawn, our surrounding world initiates the process of teaching us what to accept as truth. Unknowingly, we find ourselves perpetually immersed in a system crafted to mold our thoughts and behaviors. This begins at home, where we absorb social norms from parents, individuals shaped by their own unique experiences and convictions. At school, we learn that success is measured by grades and accolades, seldom by our capacity to question or the profundity of our self-understanding. The media assumes an even more influential role, constructing narratives that define desirability, dictate admiration, prescribe behavior, and even orchestrate emotions. Each meticulously crafted image, each repetitive message in commercials and television programming acts as a subtle yet persistent influence, filling our minds with notions we seldom consciously choose. Yet, conditioning extends beyond these realms. The very language we employ to articulate our thoughts serves as another conduit for shaping. Words possess meanings capable of either restricting or expanding our perception of reality. Consider, for instance, the distinction between stating "I can't" and "I can't yet." This subtle alteration in phrasing can completely transform how we perceive ourselves and our perceived capabilities. Sadly, we receive little guidance in recognizing the inherent power of language. Even seemingly basic choices such as dietary habits are influenced by a system prioritizing convenience and mass consumption over our connection to body and mind. Decisions concerning health, lifestyle, and well-being are often driven by large corporations with a vested interest in maintaining our reliance on their offerings. Conditioning operates silently, almost invisibly, like an underground river subtly sculpting the landscape of our thoughts and emotions without our conscious awareness. This renders many of our choices seemingly natural or inevitable, when, in actuality, they reflect external influences we have neglected to question. By understanding these forces, we begin to perceive the true extent of our subjection. This is not inherently our fault. We are products of a system perpetuating these beliefs and patterns across generations. However, this awareness forms the initial step toward breaking free from the cycle. Viewing the world with greater attentiveness, we begin to recognize that freedom extends beyond the physical to encompass the mental and spiritual realms. Looking closer, a disquieting question arises. What would your existence resemble if you could transcend these influences and discern what truly belongs to you? At some juncture in life, many encounter a troubling sense of emptiness, perhaps during a quiet moment, isolated from daily distractions, perhaps after attaining a long-sought-after goal, a job, a relationship, a material possession, only to realize the promised fulfillment never materializes. It's as though something vital is missing, an unidentifiable part of ourselves whose absence is acutely felt. This unrest marks the initial indication of disconnection from our true essence. For years, we have been encouraged to conform, to shape our lives around external expectations, those of parents, society, or even an economic system prioritizing productivity over authenticity. We have learned to don masks to gain acceptance, concealing portions of our identities. The problem lies in the increasing weight of these masks. The further we stray from our core, the more profound the void becomes. The question that emerges, often unconsciously, is, who am I, really? Not who we were told we should be, but who we are beneath layers of expectations and conditioning. This crisis of the true self manifests in numerous ways. For some, it appears as anxiety or sadness. For others, as an identity crisis where foundational beliefs crumble. It can even be mistaken for a sense of failure, as if life is eluding our grasp despite diligent adherence to the rules. However, this crisis signifies not an end, but a new beginning. It presents an opportunity to look beyond the surface and question previously accepted truths. Perhaps our values aren't authentically ours. Perhaps our dreams were borrowed from others. Perhaps our lives have been guided by an external voice. While painful, this discovery offers a glimpse of freedom. The awareness of the true self's existence, even buried, is a spark of hope, not a mistake or detour, but a calling from the universe to return home to our complete and authentic selves. Accompanying this crisis is a calling, a subtle sense of restlessness, curiosity, or a persistent question echoing within. Is there something more beyond the routines, roles, and invisible rules dictating my life? This moment invites us to delve deeper within, exploring the layers of consciousness and reconnecting with our forgotten essence. Recognizing this call isn't always easy. The noise of the world attempts to distract, and our doubts whisper, is this real? Is it worth jeopardizing comfort for the unknown? The spiritual journey commences when we choose to listen, regardless of the destination. It requires courage to question, relinquish limitations, and embrace the possibility of a far greater reality. The quest shifts from seeking externally to journeying inward. These initial steps often bring discomfort. The familiar, despite its limitations, offers a false sense of security. The unknown feels vast and unpredictable. Yet, within this uncharted territory, we find the answers, or rather, the questions we never dared to ask. This journey is neither linear nor swift, but a deconstruction, an honest examination of beliefs, fears, and limitations. Each discovery, however small, brings us closer to deeper understanding. While individual, the path is universal. All who embark on it share the experience of confronting shadows, rediscovering light, and forging a profound connection to something larger. Guided by signs, a perfectly timed book, an insightful conversation, synchronicities defying logic, we recognize we are on the right path. These events aren't mere coincidences, but reminders that the universe responds to awakening. Looking toward the horizon, the promise of transformation emerges. Understanding the world differently and transforming ourselves, ceasing to be a piece in a game we didn't create and becoming conscious co-creators of our reality. This is the invitation. The next step involves scrutinizing the layers that imprison us, belief systems, thought patterns, and habits shaping our perception. This deprogramming, like peeling an onion, reveals our true essence as we delve deeper. Deprogramming first requires acknowledging that many thoughts are not our own, but planted through education, culture, media, and experiences. The mind, like a computer, is programmed within predefined limits. The task now is to rewrite the code, beginning with awareness. We cannot alter what we do not see, so we observe thoughts without judgment, noticing the stories we tell ourselves, I am not enough, I will never succeed, life is a struggle. Recognizing these narratives initiates transformation. Meditation becomes a powerful tool. quieting the mind and observing thoughts, noticing patterns, often echoes of external voices. Meditation is not about stopping thoughts, but about not identifying with them, allowing them to pass. More space is created for our authentic voice to emerge. Deprogramming also involves restructuring our mindset. Upon recognizing a limiting belief, we can question and replace it with an affirmation reflecting our true power, transforming "I am not enough" into "I am whole and complete exactly as I am." This daily practice reprograms the subconscious. Resistance will arise. The mind, accustomed to familiar patterns, resists change, presenting fears, doubts, and distractions, like breaking an old habit. Just as we learned limiting patterns, we can unlearn them, creating new ones more aligned with our essence. Another practice is conscious breathing, a bridge between body and mind, anchoring us in the present. By focusing on breath, we calm the nervous system, creating internal space to process emotions without being overwhelmed, accessing deeper states of consciousness where deprogramming occurs naturally. Deprogramming also leads us to question external narratives. What we consume impacts our thoughts. Being mindful of what we allow into our minds, we make intentional choices aligning with our values. This process is gradual, layer by layer. Each questioned thought, each released belief, brings us closer to our essence. Deprogramming is an act of liberation, reminding us that we are not victims but masters of our minds. Once deprogramming begins, a realization emerges. The mind, once a barrier, is an extraordinarily powerful tool, the portal through which we shape reality. This understanding, bridging spirituality and science, is a pillar of inner transformation and conscious creation. It begins with, "Your thoughts create your reality." Studies show the mind's power to influence our body, perception, and events. Our thinking determines how we feel, affecting decisions and actions. Our external life is a reflection of our inner world. This is powerful, but challenging. Recognizing our reality mirrors our mind means taking responsibility. This doesn't mean blaming ourselves, but understanding that by changing our thoughts, we can transform our experience. This is liberating, placing the power of change in our hands. Visualization is a practical tool for exploring the mind's power. Imagining a desired reality in vivid detail, feeling, seeing, and hearing as if it is already happening, our subconscious begins to believe that vision is real. The brain cannot distinguish between a real experience and one vividly imagined. Another fundamental aspect is gratitude. Cultivating genuine gratitude, even for small things, instantly shifts our vibration. Gratitude unlocks new opportunities and alignments, tuning us into the frequency of abundance instead of scarcity. The invisible power of the mind also manifests through synchronicities, moments that seem like coincidences but are actually the universe responding to our energy. A clear thought or intention can attract an encounter, opportunity, or solution. These experiences remind us that we are constantly co-creating with the cosmos. Harnessing the mind's power requires practice and discipline. Previous conditioning may pull us back into limiting thoughts. Daily practices like affirmations, meditation, and introspection are essential for maintaining clarity. The mind needs training so we can fully utilize it as a creative tool. As we explore and master the mind's invisible power, we realize we are co-creators of our reality, not merely passive spectators. This empowers us to intentionally shape our lives according to our authentic values and dreams. Delving into the power of the mind, resistance arises. This is a crucial moment, forcing us to confront our shadows, fears, and attachments. Resistance manifests as internal doubts, procrastination, or a paralyzing sense of incapacity. This is not failure, but a natural part of transformation, a test from the mind and ego. Fear of the unknown is a great obstacle. The mind seeks comfort and predictability, even in limitations. Confronting the unknown, a new way of thinking, the mind tries to pull us back into the familiar. This is the ego's survival mechanism, fearing loss of identity. Imagine a caged bird. Even with the door open, it hesitates to fly into the sky, representing freedom but also uncertainty. The cage is familiar, even if limiting. So it is with our mind. The unknown represents possibilities, but also the discomfort of leaving what we know. This resistance isn't only mental, it often manifests physically. Anxiety, restlessness, or fatigue arise as we break patterns. The body reacts to the new with discomfort, a sign that we're undergoing profound change. Overcoming resistance requires self-compassion. These fears are parts of us trying to protect us. Instead of fighting resistance, we can welcome it, listen, and gently choose to move forward. Conscious breathing and meditation are helpful. Pausing, taking a deep breath, and anchoring ourselves in the present, we can ask, is this fear real or a projection of my conditioned mind? Another resource is observing without identifying. Seeing resistance or fear as clouds passing, they are there, but they are not you. This weakens resistance and strengthens our connection with our essence. The unknown is not an enemy, but an infinite field of possibilities. What the ego perceives as a threat, the soul recognizes as an opportunity. Growth is only possible when we cross the threshold of fear and explore uncharted territory. By taking small steps, we realize it isn't as frightening as it seemed, discovering a freedom beyond the fear. As we dissolve internal resistances, the world gains a new dimension. Events previously dismissed as coincidences stand out, personal messages from the universe. These moments, synchronicities, are signs of alignment. Synchronicities represent alignment between our internal energy and the cosmos, not mere chance. Thinking of someone and suddenly receiving a message, contemplating a decision and seeing a phrase that answers it. These moments feel magical, but have a basis in our connection. Carl Jung coined synchronicity to describe these meaningful phenomena, carrying symbolic meaning, reflecting the connection between our inner and outer worlds. The universe responds to our vibrations, offering clues and guidance. Each synchronicity reminds us of a greater connection, a higher intelligence, working in collaboration. They also help us make decisions, confirm our path, and encourage us. Synchronicities help us trust in life's symphony. Following these signs, every event, however small, is part of a larger plan. This trust gives us the courage to continue. Synchronicities invite conscious co-creation. Noticing a sign, we can reflect on our intentions and align them with the direction we want to take, transforming life into something meaningful and magical. These moments call for action. Each synchronicity brings a message or invitation. It is up to us to respond. As we deprogram our beliefs, face fears, and connect with the language of the universe, we realize a truth hidden in plain sight. The divine we seek is not outside us, it resides within as a spark waiting to be rediscovered. Spiritual traditions have taught that the divine is omnipresent, permeating everything. When we look deeply, we see that the same traditions point to something astonishing. The divine is not outside, it is within. As Hindu mystics teach about Atman, or Christian teachings speak of the kingdom of God within, the message is clear. We are expressions of the sacred. Recognizing this is transformative. It is as if we have been searching everywhere only to discover that we have always carried it within. The inner divine is not something we need to create or achieve. It is already there as the purest essence of who we are, our connection to the universal source, the cosmos, the whole. Reconnecting with this spark, we feel an internal shift. The emptiness dissolves, replaced by fullness. This changes our view of the world. If the divine is within us, it is also in everyone and everything. We perceive life as an expression of sacred energy, bringing compassion for all forms of life. Each person becomes a reflection of the divine. This transforms relationships, choices, and even challenges. This inward journey is both a return home and a discovery of the infinite. There are no limits to what we can access when we are aligned with this energy. The greatest gift is not the power it gives us, but the peace it brings. The peace of knowing that we are complete, that we have never been alone, that we are part of the whole, and that the whole is within us. Recognizing the inner divine is an act of love, beginning with ourselves and expanding to embrace everything, accepting that we are worthy, sacred, and inseparable parts of the mystery of life. This insight prepares us for the experience of oneness. When we realize that the divine within us is the same divine that permeates the cosmos, we dissolve the illusion of separation and feel the profound interconnectedness of all existence. We reach a crucial turning point, the realization that we are not merely a part of the universe, but also its co-creators. This insight is the recognition that consciousness is the foundation of all reality. The mind is not merely a passive receiver of experiences, it is a creative force shaping the very nature of what we live. Our thoughts, intentions, and emotions do not merely reflect the world, they construct it. Each moment is like a blank canvas, and we are the artists painting our reality with the brushes of our perception. The idea that we hold this level of power can bring both empowerment and responsibility. If we are co-creators, how have we been using this power? How often have we created from fear rather than love? This supreme insight is a call to completely change our lives. We realize that everything we need to transform our lives is within us, not about controlling the world, but about aligning our energy with what we wish to manifest. Reality is a reflection of our state of being, and by changing the internal, we change the external. This dissolves many illusions. Suffering is not imposed from outside, but a manifestation of our resistance to the truth of who we are. Integrating this, we free ourselves from limitations. We are defined not by our circumstances, but by our ability to respond with awareness. Creating your new reality begins with clear intention. Everything that exists was at some point an idea. We must visualize the life we wish to create, feeling it as if it is already ours, vibrating at the frequency of what we desire. The mind is powerful, but the heart is the true engine. When we align our vision with emotions like gratitude and love, we transform intention into magnetism. This requires presence. Life is not built in some distant future, it happens now. Every choice, thought, and action contributes to the construction of our reality. Being present means paying attention to the moment, not as a passive observer, but as an active creator. It is a state of loving alertness where we recognize that every gesture has an impact. Creating a new reality does not mean controlling every aspect. The universe operates within an intelligence beyond our comprehension. When we act with intention and release the need to control, we allow the universe to co-create with us. Now that you have seen beyond the veil, how do you choose to live? This choice is yours. Live as the truest expression of who you are. Let your light shine, not out of obligation, but because it is your nature. Choose from love, act from awareness, and create from connection with the whole. Until next time, Arano. So, to bring it all together, remember that journey we've been exploring? It's about waking up to the fact that so much of what we think we know, so much of what drives us, comes from outside influences, but within each of us lies an incredible potential, a true self just waiting to be rediscovered and unleashed. It takes courage to question those deeply ingrained beliefs, to face the fears that hold us back, and to actively co-create a reality aligned with our deepest values. The power, the divine spark, it's all already there, within you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. What resonated most with you? What challenges are you facing on your own journey? Leave a comment below, ask a question, or just share your perspective. Let's get a conversation going. And if this message resonated with you and you want to dive deeper into these kinds of ideas, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future explorations. We'll be uncovering more of the arcane vault together soon.